This is going to sound really silly, but the last week without my 8x10 camera has been really, really hard. Oh, hey there, and welcome to Large Format Friday. I'm your host, Matt Marrash. If this is the first time you're stopping by the channel, there's a playlist of the fourth season that we're currently working on. And if you haven't subscribed yet, each and every Friday, we're going to be here and we're going to be chatting about something large format. Like, it really doesn't make sense. A vast majority of the time, I'm not out and shooting with my 8x10 camera. It's not the same type of photography where I've got the camera in my pocket or hanging from my hip all the time. It's a decisive thing to get out there, plan a trip, load the film, do the whole dance with your camera and get out and shoot. So what's the difference, right? Whether the camera's parked in the garage for a few weeks or if it's in the mail. Well, if you haven't traveled with your large format kit before, it can be a bunch of butterflies in your stomach waiting on that unknown. It's almost the same as those unknowns the first time you load a sheet into your film holder. You don't know if it's going to come out. Sure, you've practiced and you've thought about it and you've done all the steps, but there's still that little bit of doubt. That's what I'm going through right now. And even though the tracking number confirmed that package is slated to arrive, I don't believe it until I see it again. It's just something about not being able to see where it is. So instead of doing a regularly formatted episode, what I'm going to show you is some B-roll of me cleaning the darkroom space because it needs some TLC. And this will help me distract from the fact that, oh my goodness, my camera's out of my hands right now. So the first thing I thought I would do, even though the 8x10 was out of commission, I still had some of my smaller tripods and I had that Graflex Crown Graphic, which was so generously donated to the channel. And I called up my buddy Tariq and I asked him if he wanted to go ahead and play around in the studio. So we did a little bit of testing in the studio. I don't want to spoil too much, but we had a good time and we're going to be doing more studio shoots when I get back from this trip, and he's also got a trip he's going on. So stay tuned for more studio work with my buddy Tariq. If this is your first time hearing about Tariq, he is an absolute genius of lighting and portrait photography. I'm going to put a link up there to the last time that we got together in the studio. He's a joy to work with, and you can learn a lot just by hanging out with him. So after a pretty successful test shoot in the studio with Tariq, I took some time to set up some things at home. It's getting around that time when seed starters are going. I decided to add to the raised bed situation. We have triple the amount of raised beds now, adding 2 more 4x8s. That was pretty cool. And I had some leftover fence pickets from when we moved in, and I went ahead and turned those into a nice little compost box so the neighborhood possums and raccoons have less to eat. Following that, there was one more thing on the docket that I wanted to do, and that was to help out my good buddy, Mr. Steven Takis. Steven's also been featured on the channel multiple times. We've been working together with the RA4 color reversal process. He was doing a demonstration down at the Fort Hays Educational Center in downtown Columbus, Ohio. And I was assisting, shooting some footage for him, and we even did a little test using some Ilford Harman Direct Positive. This is a direct positive black and white paper. It's marvelous to work with. It's an orthochromatic black and white paper that you can expose directly, and then no special process is needed, just your standard develop, stop, fix like a piece of fiber paper would need, and you end up with a direct positive. This paper can be pretty hard to find and is incredibly expensive, but totally worth it, even when your subject blinks. So to wrap things up, I guess I want to tell you a little bit about the trip that I've got going on. I'm heading to Joshua Tree, which is going to be a fun one. It's a meetup that's hosted by the good folks over at the Darkroom. I've had a relationship with the Darkroom ever since I started sending out my film to be processed all the way back in 2010. Through my time at the Film Photography Podcast, we've been in good contact with the Darkroom. I've been out to several meetups out there, and each time it's just been awesome. I was out in 2015 where I got to Scrooge McDuck my way through some rolls of film, which was awesome and kind of hurt. And then back in 2019 at the Film Photography Paideia. This is going to be a bit of a shorter event. This one's in Joshua Tree. There's going to be a quick little 2-day thing, but I've never been to Joshua Tree. I'm really excited. I got some color and black and white loaded up, and it's already shaping up to be a huge event where we open things up to visitors later on Saturday for the Beers and Cameras meetup, as well as a hike through Joshua Tree National Park. I just wanted to say thank you all so much for everybody who chimes in to the channel, drops a comment, asks a question, any of that stuff. It helps out so much. And of course, a huge shout out to our LFF sustaining members. Y'all are the lifeblood of this channel, helping keep things going on kind of a more repeatable, reliable basis, and allows me to do things like ship the 8x10 kit across country and go to some cool places I've never been. So I hope to share some great content from out west with everybody on the channel. And while we're waiting on next week's LFF, could you do me a favor? Let me know what your favorite thing about Large Format Friday is. Drop it down below in the comments. I really haven't been big on asking for feedback, and I want to change that. I want to make sure that what you're seeing is the kind of stuff you want to see. Do you want to see more gear? Do you want to see more field work? Let me know down below in the comments what you want to see. And as always, if you have any large format questions, you can send them right there. largeformatquestions@gmail.com. Thanks again for stopping by, and we'll catch you next week for more LFF.